Welcome back into the closet.
We are back.
It's me and Ange. So they're nonchalantly. We are back.
We are back. I'm texting right now.
Why are you texting during the show?
Because my bestie's texting me and I'll respond no matter what.
Oh, wow.
She actually, it's Christy, my friend. She actually, this ties into one of our past podcasts. You know, the one where you were talking about the stuffed animals in the back window? Yes, you do.
Just kidding. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
She said she saw a car just like that. She took a picture of the car, and Jeff just confirmed that it is in fact the same car.
It was the exact
that
same
he
car.
saw. She said she's seen another one full of Care Bears.
Care Bears?
Yeah, I loved Care Bears back in the day, but I wouldn't put them in my back window. But anyway, so I was responding to her.
That's great.
Because what happens if I don't respond to people right when they text me? I get so many texts that it'll get buried and I'll never respond, and people think that I'm ignoring them.
So important.
No, I'm not saying that. I just have a lot of clients and they text me a lot, which is fine. But I even have to tell them if I don't respond in a reasonable amount of time, just send like something so you're bumped up to the top. People do that to me. And they'll say, I'm just bumping myself. And that's sad. That's so sad.
I can get that way with my emails and texts if I don't. I know if I want to read the text and I'm not ready to read it, I just don't open it.
Oh, I can't do that, man.
You can't open it.
Dude, I have a psychological... If someone texts me, I have to open it. It drives me insane. I have to open it. And then if I'm with clients or something, or dealing with the kids, I'll be like, okay, I'll respond to that later. And if I don't remember to go back at night and scroll through all my texts, I won't remember, so they know they have to bump themselves. I am not as disciplined as you. And ignoring text.
But if you have the preview and you can read it without opening it.
I would never have the preview on because I have a confidential text that come through.
Well, no, I'm saying just don't open it on your screen. Like, open it, open up your list of texts, and you can read the first 2 or 3 lines.
No, I can't do that. My phone has to be cleared off, just like my emails. Like, if I have my email app open, right now I have 16 emails, and it's driving me crazy. I will clear those off.
You can clear that crap off after you're done with the task at hand. But to interrupt your task at hand, to open up to text and emails or whatever you do to clear stuff off is crazy.
You do you. You run your life and I'll run mine. How about that?
All right.
Okay, cool.
And that kind of leads into what we came to talk about tonight. Just thought we were talking about relationships, so we thought we'd talk about relationships.
Yeah, it kind of piggybacks a little bit. Well, I mean, not really, but we started talking about relationships last night, I guess,
It's more like sex last night, wasn't it?
I know, but it like led into relationships.
Or last podcast, whatever.
Right, but then we were out sitting on the couch and we just started talking about relationships and how, you know, you and I have been together for a very long time. We've discussed that before, like since we were 15, and we're 42 and 43. You are older than me, Runyon.
That's true.
Sorry, but you are older than me.
And more mature.
Oh, absolutely.
More sophisticated.
Are you more mature? I say in my most sarcastic voice possible. Anyway, but so we've been together for a long time. We are not marriage counselors.
We're not licensed psychologists or psychiatrists.
We're not licensed in any kind of counseling. But I feel like sometimes we could give good advice because we've been together for a long time. We've never separated. We broke up for 30 minutes in college one time, and I thought it was for real legit because he got his CD case and his Walkman.
My Walkman out, yeah.
Yep, out of my car, and I thought, well, this crap's
the tape
going
with
down.
the wire going to it.
Oh, yeah. You got your whole, you had a CD collection.
I was walking up the steps going, shh, what did I do? That's my only car.
I know you did, and that's probably why you got back with me.
No, I didn't. That's not why.
But anyway, so we've been together for a long time, and we've been through many ups and downs, many trials.
I think that's normal. Yeah.
I think it's normal too. And we've made it through, and I'm sure we're going to face more. I don't even want to think about them right now, but I feel like as we're not licensed, we are practical and we are experienced in relationships. And that's a disclaimer, though, that we are not professionals.
Now that she's given her disclaimer, I'm gonna tell you how to do it. Here's how it works, and this is truly how it works. No sarcasm whatsoever. You go out there and you find the one person that was made just specifically for you on this planet. They're out there, and this goes back to the other episode, podcast, Porn and Princesses, where we're brought up to be like, and then fate. It will be fate that you come together, and then it won't matter what you go through. Everything will be okay.
Right.
That's how it works.
No, that's
Wrong. Love. That's why people just don't wait for the perfect person that's built only for them.
Yeah, that's totally wrong. We know that's totally
Complete
wrong.
Sarcasm here. I think that's the fairy tale world that people live in. I think you can have a romance without having to believe in that one person for you. I think that one person for you is that person that I think there's many people that could probably be for somebody.
Oh, I
personality wise,
yeah.
They match up. But no matter who it is, there's going to be some really wrong personalities for you, and there's going to be some really right ones.
But I mean,
But it's work.
It is work.
I think that's the best advice my dad gave me. And they've been married they've been together since. He said, and nobody ever tells anybody that, I don't think.
No.
This is going to be difficult. And he wasn't saying it because you're difficult. He was saying, this is going to be difficult. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great life. But you're going to go through things that you don't expect to go through.
Yep.
And it's going to be hard. And you're going to have to fight through it and live through it and come out on the other side and you guys be better for it. And you might have told us both that. I can't remember, but I remember around when I was getting married, it wasn't the fairy tale speech.
No.
It was
not.
Let's get real.
And that's what a lot of people go on is the fairy tale of the wedding and the honeymoon and the excitement of getting a house or an apartment or whatever together and everything's all grand and then your first not just little fight over you're not paying attention to me or what I'm talking about something major happens.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people don't take enough time to invest and to fight through it and to make it work and to honor the vows. People just, I feel like, give up so easily. Now, I know there's situations where maybe you needed to end it because maybe it was physical.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe there was emotional
situations.
abuse.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, I don't know, a real deal breaker. But I think these deal breakers just get easier and easier. Like, oh, I'm just bored. Or, oh, he did that. I mean, you have to fight through it. And that's what I tried to teach my kids. Like, you can't just, because he doesn't text you back quick enough, just be like, I'm done. That's not how life is. That's not how it works.
I think our culture kind of fosters that. Like, I know I do it with certain things. Like, things get tough, whether it be in a job. I'm in sales of things. If you're having a bad run, sometimes it's just like things just start snowballing, and you're like, instead of fixing it and working on it, you start looking for another job.
Yes.
Because sometimes it would be easier to start over.
Yes.
It would be so much easier just to start over.
Yes.
At least you tell yourself that. The problem is I'm still me.
Yes.
And I've started over in new jobs. And guess what? I get myself in the same situations because it's me. It's my demons that get me to that level. And I think in a relationship, it's probably the same thing. If I just was like, oh, it would just be easier to, no.
To just leave and start
over.
like,
let's just forget this. It's not working.
Especially if there's not kids involved. I feel like it's so much easier just to up and leave. I mean, it brings another element into it if you have kids.
Sure.
But I just think people don't fight for it. People don't dig down deep and get uncomfortable with it and face what's happening. Because, I mean, you and I have had, we won't go into detail the trials that we've had, but I promise you.
Yes.
Because a lot of people say, oh, you guys look so happy and oh, you're just so perfect. No.
It's not always that way.
I have done things. Jeff has done things.
Don't get your jump to conclusion.
I know.
Out there.
It's just.
But seriously, I can say that both of us have done things that we have friends that have left their spouse for.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Both of us have done things that our spouses, that friends of our spouses have both things. They've left. They've got divorced. And to them and their families and to whoever they told, it was rightfully okay.
Right. So we both have done things more than just, and some relationships
and that's not to pump us up.
No, but some relationships have been deal breakers. And
sure.
To each relationship their own. But I'm saying, you and I have fought through it. and it's been uncomfortable.
Oh,
we've
God.
We've spent many nights, weeks, months repairing things, like, working through it, having good days, having bad days. But at the end of the day, we come out together.
I think that's it.
And we come out stronger because of it. Like I said, things will probably come up in the future. I hope not, but we're both human. You never know what's going to happen. But we've gone 20-some years fighting through this stuff. And we're talking about stuff that happened back in high school, back in our early marriage, recently. I mean, there's been things.
Yeah, there's always those. Yeah.
Even in high school, the stupid petty things. Like the time the cheerleader took you home. Let me tell y'all this story. This cheerleader. Oh my gosh, what was her name?
I can't remember.
She remained nameless. I don't even remember her name anyway.
I can't remember her name.
All right. Well, anyway, so I was Jeff's mode of transportation all through high school and college, just to let you know.
Yes.
Anyway, and he had football practice, and I was home, and he's like, I didn't take him home that day, and he said, I think her name was Jennifer.
It doesn't matter.
That's a slutty cheerleader name, isn't it?
Ooh.
Jennifer. We're going to say
There's
Jennifer.
Jennifers out there everywhere.
I'm sorry, Jennifers. I'm just
kidding. That's
kidding.
not a slutty name at all.
I'm just
Cinnamon
kidding.
and like
I'm just
stuff
kidding,
like
Jennifers.
that.
I have friends that are Jennifers. Anyway, it just seems to fit. But anyway, she decided to take him home, okay?
Well, she didn't decide till I needed a ride home, and she offered.
She still decided to take you home. She could have said, no, I can't. I know that you're with Angie.
But she was a senior, I think. She didn't
Are you
care.
taking up for her right now?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I can't remember what she looked like.
Oh, bullcrap. I can remember what she looks like. Anyway, what she looked like. She probably doesn't look like that now. She's probably really hideous.
Right, exactly.
But anyway, she took him home, and he called me, not on the cell phone either, on the landline.
A landline.
He called me, and he said, I think it was Jennifer. I really do apologize, Jennifer. But Jennifer, she took me home, and she tried to kiss me. Now listen, the senior captain of the cheerleading squad takes my man home, tries to kiss him, and Jeff to this day swears he resisted.
I about crap my pants. She scared me, man.
He swears he resisted. Now,
why would I tell you? Look, I'm honest usually, 98% of the time. I called you, and I didn't want that on me. I called you, and I told you, and I paid for it.
He did, because
But I was honest about it, and I'm honest this day.
Okay, but remember, I
was shocked.
16 or 17 at the time, and I was pissed.
She was upset.
Even though he said he didn't, I didn't believe him. And
Right.
I have background to my parents.
Because I'm a player.
Listen, my parents. We'll get into that maybe later, but I didn't trust all the time men, okay, your guys. So I had a real hang up on that. So I for sure thought he was lying to me. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest right now. Even in our marriage, even up till not long ago, I bring it back up from time to time. Are you sure you didn't kiss her? What would it matter now?
Really?
I mean, even if you told me now, okay, yes, I did. I mean, what am I going to do? Leave you? Absolutely not. But I'm just saying, it still
I would laugh and tell you.
I know, but it still pops up in my head, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
So that was back in high school. Just things like that. When most girls would be like, yes, I know you did. I'm breaking up with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's been things that's happened since then. It's been more...
yeah, much more
what's
intense.
the word? Yeah, but I'm just saying that's
much
an example of where it all starts. That's where it all started with us. Instead of me leaving you because I believed myself that you did it, I just was like, okay, fine. I'm gonna believe you. We're gonna move on, and I did. I kept it in my back pocket, and because we laugh like you don't do it. Oh, please go ahead. Well, laugh like you don't hold.
But you know what the thing
pocket.
is? I think this is key because I think this is key. From that point on, though, I learned. I never took rides with girls.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay, because I can tell that story too.
All right. Okay.
He has since taken a ride with a girl. But anyway, we will not get there.
You know what I'm saying.
I know.
You know what I'm saying. That I haven't told you about beforehand.
Yes, okay.
So,
do that. I hear you.
Here's the deal. I think that's important. You learn. I think that's one thing I told, my brother before he got married, I think. And I told him, empathy is so huge in relationships. Maybe not to everybody. Maybe I'm wrong. But in ours, we always had that from like day one. There's this thing where you say, and sometimes it's irrational, but you usually will back off if it's irrational. But if you say, like, for example, you have a guy friend and he's going to hang out with you at your house, and I'm like, I don't feel right about that. I don't like that. Like,
Yeah.
and you'll be like, that's stupid.
Right.
But for some reason, we always said, here's the deal. If you feel a certain way, I'm going to protect you. So even though I don't totally agree with you, I'm going to try to empathize with you and say, how would I feel in that situation?
Exactly.
And I know people are like, that's stupid, or I do that too. But no, everybody comes up with their slant because they're biased towards their interests. So they're always
Yes.
going to say, it gets into a fight. And I'm not saying it hasn't. But
Right.
we always end up saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there.
Right.
Because we generally don't take advantage of each other. You usually don't say, no, you can't go to this thing because so-and-so is going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't keep just out of spite. We don't, and maybe people do that, and that's why it's harder for some people. But I think that empathy thing is huge
Oh, I think
for a
it is, too.
relationship. To
I think
say,
it is too.
you know what, this bothers Ange, so I'm not even going to be around it. I'm not going to do it because it bothers her, and
Yeah.
she's gonna that's something she's gonna repay me with, is something's gonna bother me genuinely, and she's gonna respect that, and she's gonna stay away from it.
Right.
Or I think a lot of people just are like, well, she hates it, but this is what I do. This is
Yeah.
my thing, and I don't care. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
no.
she needs to get over it,
There are certain things
which
that
builds some resentment.
yeah, and you don't want to do that. There are certain things that that rub Jeff the wrong way that I don't understand. I'm like, why? Like, seriously, why? Why? I don't understand. It doesn't matter if I understand. That's where this is the game changer. It doesn't matter if you understand. It bothers the other person, so don't freaking do it. If you can't not do it, then maybe you shouldn't be with that person. If you can't respect that person enough to say, this bothers them, even though I think it's stupid, but I'm not going to do it because it bothers him, and I respect him enough to not do it.
And we're not talking about like sleeping on your side
Oh,
or hanging your
no.
towel
I'm
over
talking about
the
something.
door.
I'm trying to. I don't really
Yeah.
want to share the example.
Yeah,
Because that's a little
yeah,
too personal.
yeah.
But like I'm not.
And you have the same thing going on.
I
mean, there's
absolutely
things that
do.
you are irritated with, and I know.
You stay away from him because you
Yeah.
respect me. You might slip up from time to time, and it's nothing
Sure,
major.
right.
It's just
It's
little
not
stupid
intentional.
things. And I've slipped up on it before, and he's like, I thought we weren't doing this. And I'm like, ugh. It doesn't make sense to me. That's why I keep slipping into doing it. But, right, you got to keep trying
Yeah.
harder. And I mean, that's just like I told one of our daughters tonight. She's going through she's going through a breakup, and I told her, you've got to treat people the way you want to be treated. And I know that's cliche, and I know that's something that your mommy told you, but it's true.
It's absolutely true.
If you've got to treat your partner the way you want to be treated. It cannot be double standards. I hate when I see double standards in relationships. It's not right. It's not fair. You can't do that. Because guess what? Just like Jeff just said, it builds up resentment. And resentment is what will break
It's death.
you down 100%. Now, again, just another disclaimer. We're not professionals. A professional might tell you different. But just from experience, from two people that have been together for a long time, resentment will destroy you.
And through, like, what I had you listen to the other day about the professional for 20 years that watched people on video, couples, he would have them talk for an hour about things they disagreed about. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And he would say he could sit down with somebody, and I think it was within 15 minutes he was 80% accurate on saying whether they would stay together or get divorced.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And it's because he could tell by the way they were fighting is that, and the guy explained it, that if, I might say Ange is she's crazy. She's being a crazy bitch. Like, you're being crazy. She's being crazy in this specific time.
Or you're acting like that.
You're acting that way. But my mindset is never she is that. And that's when the problems start happening, is when you start labeling that other person. And in your mind, you start thinking, she's freaking crazy. And that's how you describe her. That's how you think about her all the time, instead of, why is she acting so crazy today? Like, why is she acting this way today?
Yeah.
And it's over. Because I know there's times where I do the same thing. And
well,
it's
yeah,
like,
you act like an asshole sometimes.
Yeah, and you're just like, it passes and I'm fine. You don't look at me like Jeff is an asshole.
Oh, no. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And that, I think that's what the guy was talking about. He said when it becomes contempt and resentment, that's when, the relationship's, it's doomed. Because you've gone from, okay, Jeff's being an ass, but it's going to pass. He's going to be fine. He's just
right.
in a bad mood. He must have had a bad day, whatever. But it's when you're like, all the time.
And you're talking to other people about it and being like, oh my
yeah,
gosh.
and then you build this case in your own mind.
You may vent to your friends about, your close friends about a fight you've been through. I've done that. And I'm like, he's acting like such a jerk. What is wrong with him? Like, but I never.
Acting like a jerk.
Yeah,
yeah.
I never, never does it come across that this is who you are. Because it's not who you are. Because we all are imperfect. We all are going to act certain ways. We all are going to make mistakes. We all aren't going to act perfectly. But when you start building that contempt and that resentment, like
when
you're talking about,
when you make that when that person becomes that to you, then it's over. And I think that's something that I'm fortunate to avoid is. But we always work through things. Like, we never let anything go.
No.
I mean, we don't go to sleep angry.
No, not very often.
Not very often.
Sometimes I'll get pouty. Like, I got mad last night. Not at him exactly. I don't know. I mean, sometimes we do. Sometimes we get into a fight at night. And it's best because one of us is just in a bad mood or maybe had too much wine or something. And so the things are affecting you differently. But I just choose to go to bed and not talk about it anymore.
Right.
We do that. But I can't ever really...
wake up and laugh
There
about
may be
it.
a handful of times where we have gone to bed, like, actually mad. But not very often.
Yeah, that
we
doesn't
try to make it a
happen.
rule not to, but sometimes it's just best to stop.
Right.
Just stop. Because it's not going anywhere. Because both parties want to be exactly right. Nobody's going to take any fault. Nobody's going to say sorry tonight. So you know what? Good night. And sometimes you have to do that. But it's not very often that happens. But it does happen sometimes. Because of course we fight, I mean... Everybody does.
Yeah, and I think it's important, like in life, I think a huge part of being happy is not worrying about what other people think or not trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And I think every couple is unique. I think it's important to say, hey, this is who Jeff and Angie is. I don't want to be anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like some other couple that, yeah, sure, there's awesome couples out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're cool and they might be clever and they might look better and they might be whatever, but I'm not competing with anybody. And I think couples get into that. Like, I want to be like the Johnsons. We should be like, why can't we be more like the Johnsons? Why don't we get along like that? Why do you always have to do this?
Yes.
Instead of, let's be us.
Yeah.
Let's be us. Let's recognize each other's, strengths, weaknesses, and just embrace them. And if there's things we got to get better at, you get better at it together. But it's just, I think to be happy, you got to quit worrying about the outside world. You got to be 100% in together to fight this battle, because this world and this life, going through it is such a battle.
And I think too, communication is so huge. I'm so full of cliches tonight, but I really do, because just like the other night on our podcast when we were talking about Princess is Important, okay? You can't expect your partner to know exactly what you want. That's going to set you up for being mad. Because, you have to clearly communicate.
Expectations.
Yes.
That's when you get crushed, is when I'm thinking, I expect you to do something, or I expect you to say something, or I expect you to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why
you
didn't
just have
she do
to
that?
get over the...
Because you can't read my mind?
You have to get over the fairy tale of it all, okay? It's not, here's what I like, Jeff. Like...
Right.
It's Mother's Day. I don't want... Okay, it's Mother's Day. So I'm in my mind picturing what I really want my Mother's Day to be. And if I don't communicate that to him, and in my mind I'm expecting him to know exactly what I want, and it doesn't happen, then I'm pissed. Okay? I say, it's Mother's Day, Jeff. I want the whole day to myself. I don't want anybody fighting. I would like you to clean the house. And I would like to go to dinner. Now, he knows what I want. Now, if he doesn't do it, and there's no reason why he's
Yeah,
not, then I
he
can
gets
be mad.
pretty upset. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be
I
bad.
told you I wanted
But
the
we
house
always
cleaned.
ask each other. Like, I ask you too.
I
And that's
know,
what's
but-
important.
But here's what happens.
But you should know.
Here's what well, people will say that, or people will just not be honest and say, "Oh, he'll do something great." It's not fair. It's not fair. You have to communicate.
And
what
then you know
need.
what those things turn into for both parties? I think that's what you and me recognize together, is what those turn into is agony for the other person.
Oh, it's so stressful.
Mother's Day turns into like, oh, because I want you to be
yes.
happy. I want it to be a great day. But then I'm like, you know how busy we are.
Yeah.
And then I know you do the same thing. It's like Father's Day's coming. You don't want to be like, oh, crap, what do I got to do? I got to think about this. What's she expecting? What's he expecting? What do we got to do? It turns into it's no good.
Yeah.
It's like,
what do you want for Father's Day? I
But
want you
instead-
to hire someone to cut the grass for me. Okay, done.
yeah, it's like
It's that
I can just
simple. Like,
tell
it's
you.
not a fairy tale. Like, it's not. I mean, sure, he does romantic
You
things for me.
need
and
fairy
sure, I
tale
surprise him.
moments.
Well,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. You
But I
need
mean,
some
at the end
crazy
of the
sex
day-
stuff. You know,
At the
sneaking
end
up
of the
on
day, this is what I like, and this is what I want, and this is what I want to happen. Just like I've told him. Now, this hasn't happened yet, but he's well aware, and we have some situations that's preventing this from happening. But I need some time away. Like, we didn't do a lot this summer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we didn't get to do a lot this summer as far as vacations go. It's just been really hectic, and I just really need some time to myself. I've told him this. Now, this is where it gets, a little bit sticky. There's no time frame on it. Just sometime soon, I need that. But if I didn't tell him, Jeff, I need some time to myself, and I'm sitting back saying, surely Jeff's going to grant me some time to myself, and it's not happening, then guess what? It's that resentment. It's that R word. I'm going to build resentment because he's not doing it. But how is he
Right.
going to know if you don't tell him? And it's not fairy tale. It's not magic. Talk. Communicate. That's like the biggest, I think, struggle with relationships.
And I think take it from us, because we've been together since we were 15 and I'm 43 and 27 years, and we still have to do that. Like, if
Yes.
anybody should know, if anybody should be able to say to someone, you should know,
Yeah.
it should be me or you.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just, life gets crazier and crazier, and it's nice to give, grant your partner a little mercy, especially if you're good friends.
Yeah, and just like tonight, for an example, Wednesdays at work. Today's Wednesday. I mean, when you listen to this, it probably won't be. But anyway, it's Wednesday. Wednesdays are my busiest day at work. I work about 12 hours. I do come home a little bit in the afternoon for a small break, but not very long. Jeff knows Wednesdays are busy. But today, for some reason, I was like, Jeff, I want to come home because something happened with one of our kids and I needed to talk to her. I said, I want to come home. I want to eat dinner. I want to talk to my daughter. And then I want to be done. So if you could please make the coffee for in the morning. And there was like 2 or 3 things I wanted him to do that he doesn't normally do. If you could please do that so we could get to chill time quickly, I would really appreciate it.
And it was nice of you to say, if
Done.
you're not busy.
I did. I said, if you're not
I
busy.
know, it was
like,
very
I
nice
didn't
of
know
you
what
to
you
say.
were into because
Right.
sometimes we don't talk in the
I was on
evenings very much.
emails and hanging out, but
If you're not busy, could you please do
Right.
this? So I come home. I mean, dinner's made. And I just put this stuff on my plate. I went outside. I talked to our daughter. I come inside. Kitchen's already clean. Coffee's made. I literally picked up my crap from the kitchen, walked upstairs, got in the shower, and then we came to podcast. Because I communicated that with him. If I wouldn't have told him what I needed, and I would have come home and I'd have still had to make dinner, clean up, do the coffee, do this, do that, talk to our daughter, I would have been so grumpy by that time. And I'd be like,
builds
how
resentment.
did you know? It was Wednesday. You know Wednesday's busy. Da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just what I'm saying. You just have to make it simple for the other person.
Well, and I think, too, granted, just to give some dudes some slack out there that might be listening, I grew up in a house where things were very neat and nice and tidy, and my dad never sat down, and he never, would rest if things weren't done. So always, I don't know, it's like I that guilt. Like, I can't just leave stuff in the dish, in the sink, or the counter messy. Because I don't know, I guess it's because he always said, or my mom would always say, they'd say, if you don't pick that up, who picks it up?
Yep.
Your mom picks it up, Jeff, so you got to freaking pick it up because it's your crap.
Thanks, Jackie.
That's what my dad would say to me, or my mom would say to me, and he probably said it because he didn't want to get,
Yeah.
it got crazy. I mean, it's just can spin out of control quick. But I knew you had a crazy day, and I think it's just it wasn't anything difficult I did. I was just courteous.
Yeah, I know. And I return the favor lots too. And that's just the way we work. Because here's the thing. I guess bottom line is Jeff and I are obviously, I mean, we love spending time together. Or why would we be doing this podcast together? This is a hobby of ours that we do together. We love it. Right. We love being together. We love doing things together because we actually still like each other. I mean, of course we love each other, but I mean, it goes beyond that. Sometimes you know, spouses can say, of course I love my wife, but do you like her? Do you want to spend time with her? And I always say it this way, if you win a trip to go to, I don't know, Las Vegas, who's the first person on your mind that you want to take? If it's somebody else other than your spouse, I mean, yeah, you want a girls' weekend, yeah, you want a guys' weekend, but I'm just saying,
sure. You're
the first person. So we have a goal at night.
We have a blast together, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have a goal at night it's chill time. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. And it starts about 8:30 at night. So whatever we have 4 kids, which we've said a million times. Whatever we have to do to take care of the kids, to take care of the animals, to take care of us, to get to chill time, we pitch in 100%, full speed ahead. We're getting this done, which is why when I was stuck outside, I shouldn't say stuck, but when I was outside talking to my daughter tonight about a situation that happened, he was inside doing some things that I normally do, you know, getting everything together. Yeah. So we could get to this time. And I think that's important. Like just being a team, communicating, that's where it makes a difference. And fighting, it's work. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
It's
you got to fight
not
for
easy.
it, man. You got to fight for it. You got to be. But we could get into so much. I think we'll probably do multiple relationship deals throughout.
Yeah.
The existence of
this
podcast, but I mean,
this was just kind of general.
It's really us talking about us, and there's so much more to it. I mean, we only know our marriage, we only know our relationship,
right? This is what makes
us. And so when
work.
you I mean, there's so much you can get into the mental part. You can get into how people were raised, what people were brought up to think of the opposite sex.
Oh, we were raised so different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how people were brought up in single family homes. How people were brought up where, you know, I have friends where their mother or their father were just horrible people.
Right.
And they cheated on the others a ton. And just the way you're brought up and the way you see that figure, that mother figure, that father figure in your life and how their relationships go. I think there's a whole lot more to the mental game that we can't really get into. You know what I mean? Like, because we're just not capable. We haven't experienced it, one, and we haven't studied it, two. But there's so many facets out there of relationships, and I think there's a lot of different angles people have to work other than some of the little nuggets we threw out there today and what works for us.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's the simple things where you start, and you look at each other, and you're like, you got to accept people for who they are. I tell my daughters that.
Yes.
I tell them 2 things. I say, don't listen to what people say. Watch what they do.
Exactly.
Because anybody can say anything.
Yes.
See what they do. See how they act. And then I tell them, what else do I tell them? I lost it. It was really good too.
I don't know.
You
tell them a lot of good advice. They're lucky to have you as a dad.
Well, I don't tell them enough advice. I try. I don't think they really listen to me, but I try to tell them some things that I think are important, because I think you do have to say with these boyfriends and other people in some of their lives that tell them things, that promise them things.
Yeah, show me.
You need to show, and I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying don't put so much weight on somebody when they're not showing up and they're not showing you, and then you fall for it when they just talk a game.
Don't fall for Prince Charming. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Make them show you they care about you. Make them show you, and that's what means something.
Yeah. I think it'd be great if we could find like a marriage counselor or something to have on our podcast. That would be great. Maybe I'll research that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, because we're not counselors, but we're just telling you our experiences and what happens with us and what works for us.
My mother's a psychologist. My sister's a
Yeah,
psychologist.
I'm not doing that.
No, I'm not saying having one. I'm just saying I grew up
Oh.
around psychology with constantly talking about
Yeah.
psychology
Yeah.
in my household. So that's why I think it's crazy.
Yeah, well, I understand that. All right, so that's just our bit of just our overview of relationship stuff. We'll bring some more later, and maybe we'll isolate it more. We'll be into isolation. Like I'm in a
We'll isolate a little more.
training mode right now. We're gonna isolate, but right now that was just
Another
a general
nugget is
overview.
always sexual favors always get you further.
Oh, so does romantic gestures. Just saying there, Runyon.
Aren't they the same thing?
No. See, no, they're not.
I'm learning every day.
Princess is important.
I am learning every
Shut up.
day.
All right, we're done.
Peace out.
All right, bye.